funny feeling in my tummy.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Australian Formula One podcast. This is podcast number 57, after what I think you'd all agree was a pretty tumultuous race weekend in Australia.
Yes, mate.
Pep, welcome.
Thanks, mate.
Mate, your thoughts on the crazy Australian Grand Prix, mate, the opening season race?
Well, Max, first of all, it was just great to see so much coverage all weekend. We were watching it, and it was great to see, hours and hours of footage and all the lead up and things like that. It was a great start to the season, I thought, Max. All those safety cars and so much action going on, and I was really pleased for Lewis.
Mate, it was mental.
Mate, it was. I was disappointed, obviously, to see the Ferraris, see what happened to especially Kimi, and Webber and there was
who could have forgotten Ant? Yeah,
mate, there was plenty of disappointments in the race, but overall, that's just for me, Max. Overall, it was a great race. I really enjoyed it. It was a great start to the season, and I can't wait for Malaysia. I'm really pleased that it's been a 1 week gap. But the Australian Grand Prix, mate, it was a really good race. What do you think?
Mate, it had everything. It had argy-bargy with Massa and Coulthard, once again renewing their arguments from years and years ago. These two don't like each other, and it's great to see hear the comments from Coulthard in particular, and then Massa retorting. It was great. Massive attrition rate. 16 of the cars, mate, were classified as D and F. 6 cars finished the race. It had everything, and welcome to 2008 with no TC and standard ECUs, no engine braking, and a lot of rookie mistakes, I thought, mate.
Yeah, mate, and Massa making his error at turn 1, and as you mentioned, the spat with Coulthard. There was a lot of press this week. It was all over the internet, of course. And there was some other stories going on during the week, but really it was about the fact that, like most of you said, it was a great start to the season.
Oh, it had everything.
And it was great to see Rosberg starting off with a podium with Williams, BMW doing well.
That was awesome, man. I was so pleased for Williams in their 30th year, and after having a couple of lacklustre years, first race of the season, and the young fellas up there on the podium. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, mate, it was really good. So now we're moving on, I guess, to the next Grand Prix in Malaysia.
We are indeed.
And they've had a bit of wet weather there, and Lewis has done pretty well in the practice sessions, but obviously the big story has been this penalty, Max. Him and his teammate Heikki, as you've read. Mate, the footage is pretty blatant, and I think that the penalty for me was justified.
Oh, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, history will show that Lewis Hamilton and Heikki Kovalainen were on the racing line, and Nick Heidfeld was coming through on an absolute flyer.
Yeah.
Yes, they didn't jink, they didn't move, but they were on the racing line, and for those of you that saw it, and I'd like to think most, if not all of you did, Nick had to deviate off the racing line, go around these two cars before going into the right-hander. Now visually that would be distracting to you when you're on a hot lap, and McLaren apparently begrudgingly accept the penalty, but want to make it very clear that their drivers did deviate or try to get out of the road, which is rubbish.
Do you think it was coincidence that both McLaren drivers were penalised? I mean, when I first read about the story before I saw the footage, I was like, well, why both McLaren drivers? Why not another driver?
They were both on the racing line.
They were there together.
They were both on the racing line. Heikki was in front of Lewis after qualifying quicker than Lewis. They were in a slow down fuel burning phase. The problem with that is that they happened to do it on the racing line. Now, whether they knew Nick was on a hot lap, I don't know. I'd like to think they did. But conventional wisdom dictates that when you're slowing down, you don't slow down on the racing line.
Yeah.
And these guys did, and I think the penalty's valid. But in saying that, I'm expecting a pretty strong race from McLaren myself, mate.
Yeah, well, it basically, it puts everyone up a couple of places.
Oh, that it does.
And one of those is Mark Webber.
Who'd have thought? Oh, that's right.
And mates, one of the lowlights of Albert Park was Webber, and that's been one of the stories this week as well about the Red Bull car and what's been going on. And I've always been confident. I thought, there's been conjecture in some of the press saying, oh, will they start and what's going on? I mean, of course they will.
Yeah, look, as we all now know, it was a track rod issue. The FIA to cover their own backsides, which is totally fair enough, as I think you guys would have probably read, wanted a letter of compliance from Red Bull that their cars were A-OK to race, in simple terms. Now, there was never a shadow of a doubt that Red Bull were going to submit a letter saying, look,
the whole
actually,
story
they're
was
not,
a furphy.
and you exclude us from this race, please.
Yeah.
So they're always going to get it. From what Adrian Newey has said, they've understood the problem and they've rectified it. Let's just hope that for this weekend that is in fact the case, and Mark Webber can finally capitalise on his sixth position on the grid, mate. But I don't want to talk about Red Bull all day. I don't want this to be a parochial Red Bull Mark Webber podcast, because it's not.
Yeah.
I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me.
Well, it's not. It's just that I guess he was. It was one of the stories this week with those brakes going. You kind of think about mechanical failures and you think about engine and what's going on in the car, but not necessarily the brakes. And as you guys have said, he's had some bad luck. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching as always, and please leave us your comments or send us an email, and we'll see you next time.
All right, guys, enjoy the race.
Yep. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
It's a ride.